Stay tuned and let's check out this Marvel Legends 20th anniversary Iron Man. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who, and you can also hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Quite simply show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends 20th anniversary Iron Man. And let's just take a moment to talk about what this figure actually represents. This represents 20 years of Marvel Legends, as back in 2002, Toy Biz started a little line of figures called Marvel Legends. And 20 years later, we are still here going strong. So Hasbro, to pay tribute to that first series, are re-releasing the same characters in that line in this new updated format with the updates of figures that we've got this day and age in this stylized packaging, as I said, as a tribute to that original first series. But it does say Series 1. Are we going to get Series 2 in tribute form? We shall see. But today is all about Iron Man, Tony Stark himself. This is the second one I've got. I have already got and reviewed on the channel Captain America, aka the Unparalleled Cap. And that is quite possibly the best Captain America in Marvel Legends form. So will this Iron Man become the best Iron Man in Marvel Legends form? I don't really know. It's got some stiff competition. I'm definitely going to do a comparison to this AI version of Iron Man, because if you couldn't tell, it's basically just a repaint of that with some slight differences, and we will get into all of that. But I'm curious if the yellows match, can I swap heads, all of that good stuff. So we will do that, of course. And in the packaging, he doesn't come quite as packed of accessories like the Captain America did. We just get reuses of accessories we've already seen, plus a new Tony Stark head. But that may be the best comic Tony Stark head we have. Again, I will do lots of comparisons. Instead of a comic like those original Toy Biz figures, we're getting like a card back for a display with a stand hidden behind here, but they are using the very original, the very first Marvel Legends logo as a tribute, as I said, and it says 20 years Series 1. We get the other logos down the side, we spin it round, and then we get a picture of Iron Man with that sort of display piece, and then of course we get a write-up, which is the same as the Captain America one, but it reads, Iron Man. For 20 years, the Marvel Legends series has brought the iconic characters and storylines of the Marvel Universe to fans worldwide. To celebrate the 2002 Toy Biz debut release, Marvel Legends proudly presents the 20th anniversary Series 1 featuring Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, and Toad. Now, we've already seen Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, obviously. We have just yet to see Toad. We are into March now, and Marvel and Hasbro have still not showed us Toad. So this best be the best Toad figure we've ever got. And to be honest, he hasn't really got a lot of competition. But today is about Iron Man. So let's open them up. Here we have Iron Man out of the packaging with all of his accessories. And at first glance, it doesn't look like he comes with as much as Cap. And also a lot of this is reused from figures we have seen in the past. But I'll get into all of that shortly. I still think this within itself, just like Cap, makes for a very nice display piece to represent Iron Man on a more minimalistic display. Or even if you get all of Series 1 and sort of have their own dedicated shelf space, they will look very nice posed up on the stand with this reversible card. So of course, Iron Man will stand himself as well, but I did put him in the peg holes and it made him stand a little bit off center, which I wasn't a fan of, but I'll stand him there to the side. Here we have a tribute to the comic books that we used to get in those Toy Biz figures 20 years ago, and also we used to get a diorama piece, but now 20 years later, and with the advancements of technology, instead of an actual diorama piece, we get a reversible piece of card. Yep, I know, sad times, but budget restraints and all of that still gives you options for a nice card back display. And as I said, it still looks pretty good. And it's meant to be a tribute, if that. So again, I forgive them, but it doesn't look too bad. So, and of course, the stand is a nice touch. I do like when they give us stands, and that has the embossed old Marvel Legends logo on there as well. So that's pretty good. So of course, I'll go through all the other accessories shortly. But first, let me just put Iron Man back there in the middle, because I do want to bring in the other ones real quick, just to sort of say I am going to do a straight up comparison of all of these, as I originally thought this new one was a straight up repaint of these versions, but it's not. There are some sort of sculpted changes, some molded changes, and I will explain all of that. But first, we need to take a closer look. The first big difference you're going to notice on this new Iron Man is, of course, the new helmet, as the faceplate has those old school points that is very reminiscent of an early Avengers Iron Man. So I know a lot of people are going to appreciate adding this version of Iron Man to their collection and to their Avengers lineups on the shelf. And if I bring in all three versions of the helmet that we have had so far with these releases, you'll see the previous two were just a straight repaint of each other from the gold to the yellow, where this new one is definitely a unique helmet. So I like that. As I said, very old school Avengers, early Iron Man. And again, if we just look now at the helmet itself, it's got the two slits at the front, nice eye holes with just black there. You can't see like an eye poking through. And if I spin it around to the back, you can actually see that the sculpted lines from the neck go all the way up onto the helmet now with that dark wash in to really bring out the details, which those previous ones never had. So there you go. Nice sculpted lines all the way around, bringing it back round to the front. So that's very nice. Keeping a look at this figure, you can, as I mentioned, the trunks and the torso are all new. This is all new. It looks very similar to the previous one, but I promise you this is all new, and I'll show you a comparison shortly. But the trunks have the lines sculpted through, but now they've got the dark wash on all the way around again onto the back. Same with the gloves and the sort of wrist gauntlets have got the lines with the dark wash. Everywhere with these sculpted lines has the dark wash, because it's even down here on the boots as well. The legs and the boots seem to be completely reused, but this whole torso sort of area with the trunks is all brand new. You can see those wrist discs are gone. Also the shoulder area is sculpted a little bit different. The art reactor is different. The muscle definition is different. So yeah, lots of differences. So let me bring in this old one. So this is the AI Iron Man. So first things first, the first question I want to answer, let me move this one out of the way. First question I wanted to answer when I got this figure was, do the yellows match? And to answer that question simply is no, they don't. There are differences. The AI Iron Man has a little bit more neon yellow to it compared to the sort of mustard yellow of this new one. So the yellows don't match. There are some differences. The reds, of course, don't match either. The 20th anniversary one is a little bit darker red compared to the AI Iron Man. So, of course, there's differences. Again, you can see the blue art reactor compared to the yellow and white one there. And of course those sculpted differences as well. So if I bring up a close look of the actual sort of chest pieces, you can see for yourself how the muscle definition is different, the art reactor is different. Those two little mini art reactors are a tiny bit different in regards to how they're sculpted on the chest. One of them sticks out a little bit more than the other. The shoulders are less sort of pronounced with those discs around the shoulder joint. And of course the trunks as well. You can see that the belt buckle there in the middle is much bigger on the AI Iron Man compared to the previous one. And of course, as I mentioned, the dark wash isn't there as well on the AI one, and those wrist discs are gone from the trunks on the new 20th one as well. So no discs on the trunks, so a lot of difference there on the middle. But in regards to arms and legs, it's all the same. But still, very nice Iron Man figures, definitely worthy of finding spots on your shelf. As I said, you can use this one as an Iron Man and use this as an old school Avengers lineup Iron Man. So lots of options. We're never mad about that. And talking about options, this guy has some, including what could quite possibly be the best comic Tony Stark head we have ever got. Now, this is beautiful, definitely gives me comic Tony Stark vibes, but this doesn't sort of match the era of the armor he's wearing. It sort of does, but sort of doesn't. This head definitely reminds me more of sort of late 70s, 80s sort of Tony Stark, where the armor is, of course, early Avengers. So it's an amalgamation, but one that I still think will work for your display. And again, if I bring a comparison in to the two other versions of the unmasked Tony Stark head, one we got with the stealth suit, one we got with the 80th anniversary, you can see for yourself how this new one with the mustache, with the new like thicker hair, if you will, and this new one, if I bring it back just to this new one for a second, you can see actually has the blue wash on it, which is definitely a throwback to the old Toy Biz figures who used to have like blue wash on all of the black molds, but it is sort of accurate to what the comics did as well with the blue on the black. But yeah, the mustache, a little quirky grin with the eyebrow raised a little bit with the sort of quiff. Yeah, he just needs a bottle in his hands, and this is definitely comic Tony Stark, so I like that. So again, the figure comes with fisted hands, which I've showed you, but he also also comes with a set of repulsor blasting hands with the peg on the front. Still very frustratingly though, these do not have the hinge in it. So you cannot bend these. You have to literally articulate the elbow to how you want to pose the wrists. So yeah, no hinge in these wrists. Very frustrating. A little detail, but again, it's a frustrating one. And these, of course, will stick in the new effect pieces. Well, these ain't new. These are, of course, reused, but they're new with this figure. These just have less of a blast effect down the bottom, which you could do with the previous ones as well. And these are in a lighter blue. And of course, we didn't just get these. We also got the smoke effects. Now, these smoke effects are the exact same ones we got with Riri Williams. Just now we have them in a darker black. Now, you can use them on the front here. Again, not quite like that, but let me show you. Like this, and to be fair, it doesn't look too bad when you get him dynamically posed and he's got the blast effects on. So that's not too bad, to be fair. But as I said, these are like a translucent sort of black, and the ones that came with Riri Williams were more just a flat grey. So there are differences, but I genuinely prefer this style of effect on his boots, like so. So get him on a flight stand and put these on his boot blasts, and I think they look a lot better for display. And of course, if you have other Iron Mans in your collection, as I'm sure you do, you can use other effect pieces that you've got to put in his hands so you can have him blasting all over the place. But I think he looks pretty good up on a flight stand, as he should be, hovering above the Avengers. So yeah, plenty of options for your display. Just get yourself a flight stand. As this figure does have some molded changes, let's quickly go through articulation. So the head does go really far up, which is good for those flying poses. Of course, you want him looking forward, but he can also bury the chin as well. The shoulders seem like they're going to get stuck, but if you do pull them down, they will go all the way up to 90, which is really good. There's obviously a bicep swivel, but the shoulders will go all the way around as well. So lots of movement up there. There is a double jointed elbow. Because of the thickness of these forearms, you're not going to be able to use that to its full potential. Obviously, the fisted hands have the hinge, but unfortunately, the repulsor blasts do not, annoyingly. So the hands that need them don't have them, which is annoying. The ab crunch, quite far forward, better backwards, which again, join that up with the head. Whoops, that popped off. Join that up with the head. You can get a great pose for flying your Iron Man, which is perfect. So use the head and the crunch backwards. You can get great range. There is a swivel as well, of course, broken in the design of the armor at the waist, so no complaints there. Moving down to the legs, there is a thigh cut, which you can see there in the break of the yellow. But the boot cut is hidden better, of course, in the actual design of the boot. The double jointed knee works okay, considering how thick the boot is. It's still pretty good. He can go forward quite far. That's a big boot. Back not so much, which is fine. That's human anatomy. And then outwards, not so bad. Not so bad. And of course, there's ankle pivot and rock out, all of that good stuff. So more than you would expect. Not bad for such a chunky man in armor. Moving into some comparisons, here we have a nice stack of Iron Man on the shelf. So these three, the Stealth, the ATF and the AI, all share the exact same body mold. It is just deco differences which justifies the figure. But again, when you're building Hall of Armors, stuff like that, I don't mind. More the merrier. Obviously this 20th anniversary one on the end does have the different parts in the middle, which I've already showed you. So there are differences, but even still, all of them are sort of based on that same Iron Man box. And I just wanted to confirm that if you switch the AI head onto this new 20th body, it will pop on the figure, of course, but the yellows from the legs and the arms will not match the faceplate. It will be a little bit off. Some people won't mind it for a display if you don't want to use the sort of old school pointy head Iron Man, but honestly, the yellows don't match. So my OCD will not allow it, but there you go. Thought I'd show you. Bringing some 90s flavour to the comparisons, here we have War Machine and the modular Iron Man. I'm assuming we'll see this again, but with the yellow instead of the gold, maybe on an Iron Man retro card. I'd like that. We shall see. But I am thinking about doing a sort of build your comic Hall of Armour in a video where I show you all the different Iron Man figures you can use in a comic display that sort of match, in my opinion, because we do have the Silver Centurion, we do have that 2020 Iron Man as well. So we have more than just what I've showed you today. So if you'd like to see a video like that and build a comic Hall of Armour with me, let me know in the comments. I also wanted to see how Tony looked next to Rhodey as well. So here we have Tony Stark compared to Colonel James Rhodes, and again, I think they look great. But we can also use this head on the modular armour, but I do think it sits a little bit too high on the neck, unfortunately. And also, the sort of head sculpt that comes with this body should have a mullet, like black hair with a long mullet. But still, showing you options. Here we have the old school with the new school, as we have the 20th Iron Man compared to the all new, all different Invincible Iron Man, and of course Riri Williams aka Ironheart in her first armor, and I think they look really good, sort of comparing the old school with the new school. But of course that's so 2016. We've got a new one on the way. Here we have Iron Man compared to a couple of villains with Ultron, of course, and these two look great together, and the brand new Walgreens exclusive Baron Zemo. And of course we had to see what these two look like together. So here we have the 20th anniversary Captain America compared to the 20th anniversary Iron Man. And again, I think these two look great together. If you are making like a very first Avengers team in your comic display, I think this will work nicely. So yeah, these two look great together. Definitely, as I like to say, they're gonna pop on the shelf. Here we have Iron Man compared to Frogman and Tigra. And last but of course not least, here we have Iron Man compared to Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts. This is a nice tribute to that Series 1 Toy Biz figure from 20 years ago. And it's also a nice addition to a comic display if you're trying to build out a sort of more classic looking Avengers team, or like I mentioned in the video, a comic book Hall of Armor, as we can definitely do that now. So again, if you want to see that video, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, the figure's really nice. Definitely, in my opinion, the best sort of unhelmeted Tony Stark head we have in comic form so far. Definitely from, as I said, a previous era. We have got some modernized heads, but this is a nice throwback one. As I said, this head more sort of late 70s, 80s era, if you will. But I like it. It will work on a few different of those armors as well. The effect pieces we've seen before, but again, they are nice and they definitely work when you get them up on a flight stand. I do wish though that the sort of, we had got an interchangeable helmet, so we didn't have to have the pointy helmet if that isn't our mind's eye. And again, the yellows don't match compared to the AI version, so you can't swap. I'm not mad that the yellows don't match. I just wish this version came with one of our alternate helmet, so you didn't have to have the pointy helmet. But at least they gave us something different. So, and a lot of people do want this helmet. I know people like our friend Todd was making custom versions of this for the AI version, and now we have this. So again, lots of options for our display. But you let me know what you think in the comments below so far. Do you still think Cap is better than Iron Man, or is it a nice pair when you get them together? Always curious to hear your thoughts below. And again, Hulk's to come, hopefully this month, and then God knows when we're see Toad. Hopefully this year. We only have 1 year to celebrate 20 years, Hasbro. We need to see him. But until then, make sure you stick around on the channel, check out the playlist, the video tabs. Most importantly, please hit that subscribe button. Much appreciated. You can also hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And I'm on Twitter as well. Don't be shy. Tweet me at Dan Who Reviews. And until then, people, my name is, of course, Dan W. And I will see you on the next one.